Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Training, Learning, and Development community. Happy Friday to all of you. Well, I've got a nice group of people already in this morning. Toddy is here. Yay. Ray, nice to see you. Greg Jones, Christiana, Alan. Yay. Ray, Jack, Tutor Jack is here. Melissa, C. Adams, Julia, Tristan, Lisa Spurko. Thanks for joining us today. And yeah, we're talking about remote work. Not sure if all of you that are in already took or participated in the survey that was out there. The survey is closed. I usually close it right before I go live, but hopefully you're able to answer some of the questions on here. And we're gonna talk about what we found out from sending this out to the community and having folks that know about TLDC fill this one out. And I hope that you'll find some value in the results. It's something that I think we're all challenged by right now, or at least have had to deal with this shift of moving over to remote work. I was actually surprised by the number of people that have moved over to the remote working environment. For some reason, I thought that it was going to be not quite be as much, and so we're going to be going through some of that stuff. And I also have some questions, just a few questions in the ask a question area, and I'll go over those verbally, and hopefully we can talk about those in chat. And if any of you want to jump on screen, I wouldn't mind at all. You know, with these community discussions, I'm not I don't mind having guests up on screen. I can have 3 more windows available here, and the company is always nice. So feel free to let me know if you want to jump in. I will invite you up on screen. Let's see. Before we get started, a couple reminders. We got Community Day coming up Thursday, September 2nd. It's right before Labor Day weekend. Sort of that was intentional. It's coming together really, really nice. I like the way the program is looking. Sponsorship has been really cool. Like getting a lot of vendor outreach on this one. So I think the exhibitor area will be nice, and some folks that I haven't talked to in a while that are in L&D, some vendors coming in that it's nice to kind of reconnect with some of those folks. So keep an eye out for that. I could use a few more table hosts if anyone is interested in coming in and doing a virtual table. I'm not probably going to do more than 6, I think, but yeah, so let me know if you guys are interested in all of that. All right, let's get going on this state of remote work. Let me share my screen. Here we go. First question. And so this one was easy, of course. Are you currently working remotely? Let's see what we have here. 84.62% said yes. 6% said no. And we had 7 folks said that they're working both remotely and in office. And if anybody has their story, if any of you are doing both, I would love to hear that story. What that situation is for you. I know I have like a friend, actually a neighbor who works for the city of Sebastopol, who's doing both. And you know, he can't really understand why he has to do both. But they just do. And I know that there are other folks that are like that too. Sort of the logic behind some of it is a little what would the word be? Draconian? No, I don't know. But it's a little strange. Let's see. Hey, Kitsal's in. He said, I've always been in that gray area of is remote, but not really. But the shift due to COVID helped to solidify me to work 100% now. Yeah. And for myself, one of the reasons why I really started building TLDC way back when was because I wanted to work from home. Since I had at the time like a newborn child, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to like go into the office. I want to hang out with him all the time and and do it that way. So yeah, moving over to this has been for me it's really been helpful, just being able to have quality time with the family. All right, so we've got 85% of the respondents were all working from home, so this is a nice sample size. Were your organization's remote working policies clearly communicated to you? So only we had a quarter of the people say no, and 3/4 said yes. And I thought that was interesting because I know that for myself, it was such a shift and it happened so quickly that I don't feel like the policies were really clearly communicated. But at the same time, I mean, I didn't see any models for how to really communicate that type of a thing well. It just happened so fast. Um, so so yeah, it it uh it it was a shock, and I understand why maybe the policies weren't that clear, but we adjusted, and everybody was sort of reeling from it. And so, just I'm not, I'm sure everybody knows, but I work for an organization that actually does live conferences. Used to do like 14 global live conferences every year, from London to China to here in the U.S., San Francisco and New York. And basically, when all of this happened, that entire division got shut down and everybody had to work from home. And so we went through a lot of stuff. So I can understand why the policies probably weren't communicated that clearly. If there is anybody that did get policies that were communicated clearly to them, I would love to hear what your comments were for that. Um, okay, so Lisa's saying our company and department already had many remote employees, so policies were already in place and the shift wasn't painful for us at all. See, that's great. Were you just handed, Lisa, were you just sent like, was there a document or something, or like, here's what you need to know. Here's your laptop and your work environment and all of that stuff. Like, where was that all like, information about all that stuff and how to handle it? Was that sent to you immediately, and you just knew like this is how it's going to work? I know for us, it kind of, it rolled through. What was nice was we found out that they were going to give us a monthly stipend for paying for our own internet and having our own work environment. And then also they gave us a good amount. I don't want to say the dollar amount, but it was surprisingly large, to fill out our office, to buy a chair, to buy other stuff, as well as giving us, the really nice MacBooks and all that stuff. So that was helpful. All right, Tristan is saying our company is fully virtual, so all policies were already in place for us as well. I see. Greg was saying all the former naysayers were then automatically made disciples for they had no choice. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Nice. Okay. Oh, Kim's saying we often work from home when the need arose, so we didn't have any policies or change, but we're a consulting company. Yeah, yeah. Toddy's saying our policies are written, but very work from home before COVID. What I found as someone who's worked remotely for years is that I was finally included in all meetings and not an afterthought. That is a big deal. That is a huge part. I think that cultural shift too, which I'm really, really curious about, and I would love to have conversations about on TLD Cast, which is how remote work has changed the culture of an organization. Because I've had some conversations with some folks about that, and I'm so curious about it. So if you're interested in talking about that, let me know, and we'll get into that. All right, let's get into the next question. Is it easy to reach your teammates and team leaders when you need them? Now, for me personally, Slack. In fact, I probably talk to my team more than I did when I was in the office. Hopefully, I'm not like saying anything too much. I'm not communicating too much about my work culture, but I sat in an office. It was an open office situation, and it was quiet like a library, very, very, very academic, very scholarly where I work. And so when I would literally like be messaging somebody in Slack to somebody that was like 3 feet away from me, because we just didn't talk. It was so quiet in there, and I hated that. But now I just Slack all the time. We jump on Slack on video calls all the time. Doesn't even have to be about work. We're just, we'll just shoot whenever. And so I actually really kind of appreciate this environment more. Let's say Kitsal is saying for us, they reclassified people in 3 groups: in-office work style, hybrid, and 100% remote. And it was based on their job function, importance to engage with clients, etc. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and there's Christiana. We are open office too, so lots of headphones, so I often don't want to bug. Yeah, and that's what I did too. I mean, my podcast consumption back then was like basically all the time, listening between, I would rotate between podcasts and music all the time. Not so much anymore. Now it's like maybe I listen to one or two episodes of something here and there, but now that I'm working from home, it's different. I just listen to music mostly, or I just like to keep my windows open and listen to the noise from outside, from the neighborhood. Um, yes. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Hopefully I'm not missing anything in chat. It's like it's going pretty, it's moving really, really well. So I do appreciate that. I love these discussions. Do you feel supported and trusted by your organization? Let's see. I personally do. I really do. And I think that um, the peers, my team, we're all sort of, we know where we're at with things. But it still feels new to me, like to be remote and to offer, to feel that trust. Like it's just a different feeling, you know. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Let's see here. Toddy's saying, I feel more trusted now than before COVID. Yeah, that's great. And I guess that part of it is we all have challenges. I live in Northern California, and so it hasn't just been COVID, but it also has been like in the fall, the fire season. Even right now, it's been smoky, like frustratingly smoky. And I think that everyone that lives in this area has some form of PTSD, like when it comes to this whole new thing that we have to deal with every year. And we give each other some space for that, and we keep an eye on each other, because it can be, it's taxing. And um and I think that this organization that I work for, O'Reilly Media, has been incredible about supporting us and helping us understand that they trust us, and the decisions we're making about how we're doing our work. But in this particular survey, this question, we do have like 11.8% that said no. Most everybody, 85.5% said yes. Other, which I should have put a text field or something so people could fill that out, but neglected to do that. I'll do that on the next survey. Let me see what we've got in. Oh, Ray piping in here. Trust is a must. So I ask my team members, what can I do for you always? Yes, Ray. Thank you. And yes, that's a great mindset, Ray. Tristan is saying, I find our team leaders take on the same attitude, and it's so helpful. Kim saying, for me, trust, it's the same. It feels calmer since all I know about is my own projects. Alan is saying, when I was undergoing chemo treatment at my last org, I wasn't allowed to work from home because of the lack of trust. Frustrating to hear that. I'm so glad you've recovered, Alan. Yes. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and move on to the next one. Question 5, has working remotely been more difficult or easier for you? Easier, 77%. More difficult, 7.9. Other, 14.5%. I wish here's one where I would love to hear what the other responses would have been, but yeah. Has working remotely been more difficult or easier for you? It has been easier for me personally. I would love to hear some more of the more difficult response, if anybody out here wants to pipe in about that. Um, it's definitely been more easy for me, just because I'm also the type of person that, especially over the last, 5 years, I have just kind of been working. I don't want to say all the time, but pretty much all the time. But I fill it in there. I like to be able to take a walk with my son, and not say I'm gonna, I only have a half an hour for lunch, so I got to grab a burrito and then rush back. But take the time to like shoot hoops with him in the side yard or whatever. But then in the evenings after he goes to bed, I might come back and just finish up a project or two and work on the TLDC stuff. So it definitely has made my life easier working remotely. Let's see. Let's see. Toddy's saying it took time for me to learn block time and compartmentalize. Um, let's see. Kim saying other probably means easier in some ways, harder in others. Might have to do with work-life balance, offsetting more productivity. And I do have another question that is that so that has to do with that. And then Lisa saying I like to use my calendar and sometimes I even follow it. Tell me about it. I actually bought a calendar web app that I was really, really good about using for a while, but then I've sort of slacked off and I don't use it as much. But yeah, that helps with making integrating it more into your life on a regular basis. Ray is saying clients in manufacturing are hacking around how to remotely train hybrid, hands-on equipment and remote training. That should be interesting. Love to see like how that would work. And I immediately comes to mind as like AR. Oh, let's see. Julia's got a big post here. Unpleasant but true. My previous workplace had a tough time permitting me time to recover from a mastectomy and then skin cancer surgery. Referred to 6 months at home during the pandemic as a vacation, and absolutely couldn't trust people working from home. Expectation that they could call anytime and get immediate answer. Okay, now I'm merely venting and I cannot afford to send you all the copay for therapy. Current workplace is adapting on the fly, very fluid. Julia, yes. Oh, sorry to hear that. And it's true, that whole trust issue, right? It's terrible. And and I think that for me, I probably wouldn't have taken on any type of an entrepreneurial sort of spin on things had I not felt like I needed to find a situation where there was more trust. And yeah, hearing stories like that and hearing stories like from Alan, same thing. Tristan saying I chose other because while I find that it's gotten easier for the most part, I'm a very social person, so I found that lack of personal connection is difficult. I also have to pay closer attention to time to make sure I take breaks. Same here. Yeah, the whole break thing. I think I have a question about that on the survey as well. So next question, do you have all the equipment and remote tools you need to complete your work to your usual ability? Almost 90% says yes and 10% says no. Let's hear from the 10%. Who do we have out there that doesn't have what you need? Maybe we can get it for you. But I feel like I do personally. And of course, O'Reilly has been absolutely incredible about making sure that we're taken care of, but we are kind of more of a tech company. So the tools that we need, they know like how important that is just to get that in there and we can do our work. So let's see here. Wow, moving quickly in the chat area. Julia is saying I'm having a hard time developing training for hands-on operator training for technicians in Abu Dhabi using remote desktop, VMS, and MS Teams because those are the tools we can afford. Wish me luck. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Christiana was saying you were saying something about should we get him to talk about it here? Hit me up later. I would love to hear whatever that reference is back. Chat is just moved so quickly out of the way. Toddy says, I did have to go to the Facebook marketplace for another monitor. They sold out so quickly. Yes, I'm lucky I actually did have mine. ORM would have given me. No, actually, this is their monitor because they had it was a nice monitor. So my middle monitor. Oh, by the way, I have this new Slack channel in our Slack group called Workspaces. Just search for it and join it if you want. I posted a picture of my workspace in there. If you guys are interested in posting pictures of your workspace, feel free to drop that in there. A lot of that is related to this survey because I've been doing research on remote work and I came across this thing called workspaces.com, or I think that's what it was, and some really great design workspaces from designers. It's really interesting. I'd love to see all of yours. So just throwing that out there. Let's see. Lisa's saying I had a computer on orders. My laptop was capping out. Got it in February right before the shutdown. But when my webcam went, it was months. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's go. Next question. Do you feel you have a good work-life balance? Let's hear it. I wish I could give that 100%. I'm not quite there yet. I think part of it is also because I basically feel like I've got, like 2 full-time jobs, but I'm trying to get there and hopefully we'll get there at some point soon. But what are we looking for? Looking at, let's see. Yeah, Lisa says, "Yep, when I'm done for the day, I'm done." Um, let's see. Jack is saying work-life balance is more difficult. Um, yes. So yeah, I struggle with this one. My wife is also kind of a bit of a workaholic too, so we both have challenges. So but I do feel like with remote work, it's gotten better. I mean, I have to say, when I did work in the office, once I left there, I was done. um Now it's, I still sneak stuff in here and there early in the morning, late at night, for what I do at O'Reilly. And then that, TLDC just gets mixed in everywhere. Ray's saying, what balance? I work from the beach, is that it? Oh yeah. 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 Right. Then you should do some of those videos that you have from the beach. I would love to see that. That those the ones that I see posted on Twitter. Let's see. Jessica's saying it's getting better. When I started, I had a high needs baby to deal with on top of extra work. Now the work is not as urgent, and my toddler can do independent play. Love it. Love it. Um, yes. All right, let me move on to the next one. Question 8. Do you have a separate and comfortable space in your home for work? There you go. Speaking of workspaces, I'd love to hear about that. We've got 80% says yes, 16% says no. What do you guys say? Do you have a separate space? I do. I'm lucky, but I kind of had a little bit of a music studio going anyway. It was sort of um, my computer, my geek area, plus, you know, guitar place. And so I've been lucky. This used to be my wife's crafts room, and she gave it up to me. So um, thank you, Julianne, for for letting me have this space. But I myself do. Let's see what you guys have. Melissa's saying, in my dreams. Yeah, Lisa, separate space makes a huge difference. It definitely does. Um, Ray says, your pocket PC, huh, Ray? Is that what they call that? A pocket PC, so I'm liberated on the beach. Kim saying it's a guest bedroom, but hey, at least I have a guest bedroom. Yeah, Kim, that's great. Lisa, I do. It took me years to take the extra room, but now things are much better having a door to shut at the end of the day. Bhakti, I do have one in the form of a dining table. I know lots of folks that do that. That's my wife's office now, is the dining table, and also the kitchen counter. So she kind of goes from back and forth. Tristan, moving in a few months, and then finally you'll have a dedicated office. And Christiana, of course, van life and boat life. No dedicated space here on the boat. Yeah. And Lisa, things TLDC made me buy for my office. Yeah, it seems like we could have a whole separate conversation about that. Now, this is interesting. I just saw Alan posted something about a basement mullet. Quarters my office, quarters my game area. The rest is basement stuff. I recently upgraded the lighting situation in my office. Well, then, cool, Alan. We should do a broadcast from there. I'd love to see you again on TLD Cast. All right. So, Melissa is also moving soon. Currently smooshed in a child-sized desk next to the bed. Yeah, I'm really, I'm grateful that I have this space. It's small, it's not huge, but I am definitely grateful I have this space. And just curious, do you guys have children at home? No, 66%. About 30% said yes. I do. My son, like, he's probably on his way to school now, or actually he is at school now that school has started. We'll see how long that lasts. But I would say that pretty much after lunchtime, I get a regular sort of appearance of him in my office, probably at least once every half an hour. He just marches in and checks everything out, sits next to me for a second, and asks some questions, and then heads out. And that's how it works here on this end. Let's see. Lisa's saying, I can't imagine how hard it must be to have kids at home while you're working from home. It's it is tough a little bit, but for the most part, like, he knows that if I tell him that hey son, I've got to work on this. and sometimes he just quietly just wants to watch, and that's fine too. But lately, like, he's 7 years old now, and he's really getting into reading, and it's kind of, now it's just getting quiet. And I also have, like, I've got hundreds of comic books, and I just started going through um comics that I thought were safe for him. And so now it's getting even quieter, because I just find him, like, sitting on his bed or on one of our reading chairs, just like reading through a comic. So that's helpful. Alan saying, I got two kids and one doggo. My 6-year old still likes to Zoom bomb once in a while. She can be seen bombing into our PowerPoint playlist. My 75-pound dog thinks Zoom time is petting, lapdog time. Yeah, and that's the other thing is pets, like, and how helpful is that? I had a cat that would come in every once in a while. Unfortunately, my cat is she was 18, I think, and passed on a few months ago, so no more kitty. But you know, we'll see what happens in the future. And I know, Toddy, you've got 5 dogs now. Oh my gosh. Okay, on a scale of 0 to 5, how productive have you been since working remotely? This one was pretty interesting. And I like seeing kind of the rating this way. We had 54% that said 5 stars, 4% that said 40% that said 4 stars. Hey, that kind of matches up nicely. And then 3% that said around 4% that said 3 stars. And then some folks, just the leftover 2.7 that said only 2 stars. I would give myself a 4-star rating. And it's because I think that one of the things that is a little problematic for me is my ability to work kind of in the two environments that I work in. They can actually be distractions from each other sometimes. Not having that separation I found is kind of a problem. And so I'm kind of allocating time for each. I'm like, don't let myself work on this during these hours. And so initially that was that was a problem for me. Let's see, what are we seeing here? Okay, we're still on pet talk, which is okay. But how have you guys felt? I mean, your rating is for as far as being productive. Would you give yourself 5 stars? Like, it's just been boom, all of a sudden you're doing that much better. And that was the big thing with moving to remote work. Everyone, there were all these leaders that thought, oh man, that's it. We're not going to get anything out of our talent anymore, because they're just going to be at home, watching Netflix instead of doing their work. When in fact, people are more productive than ever. We're actually doing more. We're actually, putting out more quality work. And I really believe that's the case. And that's a huge part of the whole trust issue. Toddy said she read that productivity has increased, and I did too. The research that I did, it's the same thing. And I can think of, like, the bosses that I've had in the past that were like, "No way, you've got to be here," and it's kind of their own sort of insecurities about having a team that is driving them to not trust whether or not people are doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, and that's disappointing. Um, you know, I think that we're kind of it's sort of opening our eyes up to, like, the reality of how we relate to work, and that people truly do want to be productive when it comes down to it. That trust just needs to be there, and we just need to have that level of communication where we can where that trust is available. So let's see. Ray is getting shouted out here. I can work based on energy level rather than presence at office space 9 to 5. Yes. Yes. Um, yeah. And Toddy's saying, I think we're doing more because we have better balance in most cases. I agree. All right, so let's go. Next question. If you are currently working remotely full time and are asked to return to the office, would that be easy for you to comply with? I wouldn't be for me. That'd be difficult. And in fact, I, like many others that I found in other remote work surveys and some of the research that I did, would probably look for something else. Just because, uh, just given all the circumstances now, even with, just with COVID and just sort of the environment, with how I'm sort of living in the fall now with the smoke and stuff. You're kind of on edge all the time, and I just don't want to be at a remote, like working in an office and not being here to, in case something happens. I've been, since over the last 4 years where I've lived, we've been evacuated twice, which is pretty intense. And so uh I would want to be in a situation where if that were happen again, I wouldn't want to have to rush home from the office and figure everything out, and have that emergency plan going that is different than the one that we already have now. um Let's see. Lisa's saying it wouldn't be easy for me, and thankfully, my hubby and I moved to another state, so we're working permanently remote. Um, oh, Lisa's saying no, not ever. Full time hybrid, of course, is needed. Um, Kim is saying, oh, Greg, nope, nope, not going back if I can help it. Kim's saying, wow, here's one where I'm in the minority. It would be easy for me. I guess I'm adaptable that way. Yeah, yeah. I think if you're adaptable, it would totally work. I know that for myself, like I've just got just too much that I have to keep an eye on at this point. Jessica says, I prefer fully remote, but a clear expectation of flexibility would be important. I hope my next job to be fully remote. Nice. Okay. Next question. Do you feel as productive at home as you are at the office? I guess this is kind of a repeat of one of the other questions. 86% said yes. 13.7 said no. Definitely. Yeah. For myself, be interested into seeing the no. you know I mean, I can understand it. I know that when I was at the office, you know what would happen, you know basically when I would get stuff in, uh if it wasn't a full day, I would just have to break everything out so that it would last me whatever the 9 hours I was going to be there. And that was kind of part of the job. Oh, but I would get it all done. Um, but I am definitely like here, I get stuff done quick and then I, just fill in as needed throughout the day. So, yeah, let's see. What have we got here? Um, Jessica saying productivity ebbs and flows. I've learned to let go of the guilt of not being productive every moment of remote. Yes. Uh-oh. And then Ray saying he's productive until his wife invites for a drink. Okay, there we go. We're moving in a whole different direction now. Yeah. Yeah, Jessica, I agree about all the hall conversations at the office. And it's interesting, I tried out a service for a little while where it sort of emulated having hall conversations just with strangers. And it was kind of cool at first, but then it actually stopped being that interesting. And I found that I just didn't need that, even though I was kind of looking for that because that's what I used to have at work, and I was trying to replicate that. And now it's just kind of you figure out your own. It's just what your just sort of different needs nowadays, right? And do you take regular breaks? 82.2% says yes, no, 17.8%. I do take regular breaks, but I don't take them enough. I take my lunch for sure. Um, but when my son wasn't in school, I wasn't, my break time would be like going to go drop him off at school and pick him up, which was a nice little walk. His school is about not that far away. It's only like maybe a quarter mile away. So that was sort of one of my breaks. And then, but now that he's back in school, we can have that. But during the summer, I really wasn't. I would go out and we would do something like we would, I'm teaching him how to ride a skateboard, or we would shoot a basketball, or we would do things and just take little breaks here and there. But I definitely personally need to be better at taking regular breaks. Let's see. I'm trying. Kim saying, whenever we're back in the office, I'm going to install a hammock there so I can take my naps. Naps are important. Naps are important. Let's see. Yeah, I love reading all of this chat. Yeah, Toddy's same. Definitely need to take more breaks. I agree. Take breaks, guys. Is it easy to turn off work mode at the end of the day? 67% says yes. 32 or 33% really says no. I would agree with the no's. It's hard for me to turn off work mode, but then I think I'm more unique in that way, just because I'm always doing stuff. I'm not sure. I think I'm sort of wired to like work a lot, but hopefully that'll change at some point. But it is hard for me to turn off work at the end of the day. It's definitely I can definitely turn off O'Reilly Media, but here's the problem. I'm not sure if any of you share this, but how do you have your work stuff on your phone? Because then that's the other people that aren't turning stuff off at the end of the day are messaging you and things if you've got your phone with you. So yeah, Toddy's saying that's the worst part of remote work. It's hard to turn off work mode. Yes. Thank you, Kitzel. Remove Exchange on your phone for Lent. Yeah, for me it would be Slack. I need to take off my Slack group. And also my Gmail for work. Lisa says, it takes me a while to actually walk away at the end of the day, but once I do, I turn off easily. I don't find myself back online later. Love it. Love this chat. Okay, how many more questions we got here? Oh yeah, one more, and then we've got some responses. Do you feel you've been able to learn and grow in the last few months? 89, almost 90% said yes. 11% says no. Let's hear it. How do you feel like you've actually been able to learn and grow in the last few months? I actually feel like I have. As strange as it seems like it should be, with everything else going on, you would think that it would be difficult to like actually to learn and grow, because there's just been so much change. But I guess that's a part of it, right? You've been able. And what have you learned? How have you grown? I guess that's probably even the more important thing. And I would have to sit down and think about that for a second before I could answer that. But I do know there are a lot of skills that I've kind of picked up, especially with just even doing this on a regular basis. I know that when I first started doing the live stream, it's terrible. I mean, it's still really intense for me to get up in front of a camera and talk like this, but I've gotten kind of used to it, I guess. But this has been a big part of my growth. Let's see, Ray saying, oh, he's got another thing here. I learned by scanning all the chatter from the web and social media instead of sitting in conferences. Yes. And Toddy's saying, I've learned to schedule and compartmentalize way better. I am going to download this chat, and this is the stuff that I need to collect and post for everybody. So I will try to do that. Christiana's saying, if nothing else, we all have minored in public health and safety. Lisa's saying, yes, I've been taking on some new tasks and roles this year. This is great. Jack is saying he engages with everyone easier. That's good to hear, Jack. It's good to hear. And that's an important thing, being able to understand how to engage with people and do it the right way. Okay, had some bonus questions here. Can you share some of the most useful tools you found for working remotely? I wanted to collect all these. A lot of them were like Zoom. People were talking about Zoom, Outlook, MS Teams. You can see in here using multiple Google calendars. I'm going to share all this stuff in the Slack group. So take a look at that. Toddy also included, where was it? It's not going to show it in the report, but Toddy actually sent in a great little video response to this one. So Toddy, what was the What was the service I think that you had shared that was really that was interesting? Well said voices. That's it. So Toddy had put that in the response. So I will share that in the Slack group so some of you can see some of these tips that folks had. Skype and Teams, really interesting. I loved reading through these. I do want to get to some of these questions, though. I know this one has this community discussion. I'm trying to keep them to like 30 minutes or so, but we're way over time. But let me go into some of these QA questions here. What has been your biggest challenge moving to remote work? Let's hear from some of your responses to that one. What has been some of your biggest challenges moving to remote work? Specifically, this wasn't in the survey. We kind of just talk more general, but specifically, what has been some of your biggest challenges? For myself, it really is just kind of navigating through distractions, and also kind of overcoming feeling like I had to be busy all the time. That was a tough one for me, and I'm not sure whether or not any of you feel that way, but I had actually worked remotely in a couple instances in the past, but for some reason this time out, it really felt like, oh, I have to be busy, I have to be busy, I have to always like be working on something and all of that. And for some reason, it's just really strange. This anxiety kind of overtook me. Um, let's see. Lisa saying biggest challenge, staying engaged with others beyond just collaborating on projects. Oh, I love it. Feels like I don't know my peers anymore. Yeah. Let's see. Kim is saying 100 plus 100 overcoming distractions. Yes. All right. Okay. And next question. What is your favorite remote work productivity hack? I was kind of hoping that Nick Floro was going to be in for this one, but favorite remote work productivity hack. Um, for my productivity, I would say that one of the biggest things that I've done that have helped me with my productivity was really kind of integrating a note-taking app into my daily, which is because I would have, I guess, there's so many different things that are kind of moving around now. Like I'm just constantly working on stuff, and having a way to properly take notes and store them has been really helpful for me. I'm using something that synchronizes in the Mac ecosystem. It's called Drafts, and that has really helped me kind of keep a track of things. And I It's been helpful for me. I didn't need that as much before. I kind of carried around my notebooks over there, a paper notebook, and that's what I would use as my note taking. But having it amongst within my ecosystem has been really helpful, because I just, if between distractions and other things, I can just jot that stuff down. Yeah, Toddy. So oh yeah, it's called Drafts. It's Mac only. So, and I know you're on Windows, but I would look for something out there. I mean, you could even use Google Docs. Notion was something that I tried out for a while. I love Notion. I wish I could integrate Notion into my workflows, but for some reason it's just never stuck. Tristan is saying that his productivity hack is this website, pomofocus.io. I can't click on it right now, but I have a feeling that might be one of the ones that just kind of that background sound stuff. Kitsal, pants are optional, saves time. Yes, pants optional. Lisa, productivity, turning off notifications for blocks of time during the day, using OneNote to organize meeting notes, project notes, etc. Absolutely. Yes. Let's see. And then Ray's got a list of different things here: Trello, Slack, Evernote, Miro. I'm big on note taking. Have to find the time to read notes. Yeah. For some reason, mine works really well for me. Just for some, I don't know why, but I go back regularly and I organize, and it just helps tremendously. Let's see. I think I'm missing some stuff here. Tristan talking about you. Oh, I see the Pomodoro technique. Thank you, Tristan. Okay. All right. And how do you overcome distractions when you're working from home? Lisa had put in the QA area that how she overcomes distractions when working from home is she reminds herself the deadline won't move, take a walk, put on some music, and keep going. Um, totally agree. Yeah, and for me, when when I do have distractions, I mean, just like in when I was working at the office, I always just put on headphones and I would just zone out. And usually, my son, even my wife knows when I've got headphones on that I'm really really focused on something. Um, yeah, and so that's how I distract myself. All right, and oh, okay. So we've got this is a big question that Bhakti asked, and then Melissa's got one. All right, so I'm gonna I know this has been long, but let me see if we can get through this real quick. Um, Bhakti's asking, how often do you have a deep future oriented discussion with your remote manager? Now, just real quick for me, I do have a weekly one on one with with who I report to. That is helpful, but I wouldn't say that they were deep and future oriented discussions. They are mostly about personal things, just what's going on with my with my personal life and just how I feel like my productivity is. I'm not sure if that's intentional. We always just end up talking about that stuff. We talk about work projects too. Just that usually takes up about maybe 10 or 20% of the conversation, but mostly it's about personal stuff. Um, I don't think that I ever have deep future oriented discussions with my manager ever. I know with my old boss, we would go out for beer and maybe do that every once in a while. I'd love to hear from anybody else. Lisa's saying future oriented discussion. We meet every 2 weeks and more often as necessary. And our company has us to do deep check ins at least 3 times a year, but we chat about it more often than that. That's great to hear. Bhakti, I'm gonna have to follow up on that one because this is the first time that I've ever really seen this question. So Cindy's saying we have weekly one-on-ones now, sometimes project focused, sometimes career focused. Very nice. Christiana's saying she has standing one-on-ones with us directs up and down. For us, the deep future is sometimes we're just too tired from world. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Ray saying deep conversations in remote. It's what I love. It needs special skill. It's true. It's true. Interesting. Kim has at least a weekly with a manager coach and talk all things personal and work. Okay. Yeah, that might actually be an interesting one to kind of explore more in conversation. And then we're going to wrap it up here. But last question from Melissa. Google has decided to pay remote workers according to their location and said that remote workers in lower cost of living areas will get pay cuts. Anyone else's company do this? What do you think about it? Ah, wow, that's a big one. Yeah, Christiana's saying not yet, and I hope not. I did hear about this, and I'm my first response is that I'm just not happy about that. But then I also was listening to a podcast recently that was talking about sort of the geography of remote work and how that is going to be changing, how it's just going to be changing migrating patterns for folks. People are not going to be moving to the city anymore because if with remote work that just that need is no longer there, and how that is going to change things. But then there are these other areas that are perfect for remote work that are going to start to get really industrialized, and how that is going to affect things. um let's see. Oh, let's see. Jessica's saying, as someone who lives in the Midwest, I feel location should not affect the skills that I bring. I agree. This is a big one. I would love to have this conversation with everybody. Cindy's saying, I think that it's pretty common practice in HR recruiting. The issue at Google is people moved out of areas near Google. Yeah. Um, yeah, and Quetzal, you probably have kind of more of an insight into this. I'm not sure, but because you were a Bay Area worker now, Now you're in the Phoenix area, so that's yeah. Why pay Bay Area rates? Melissa's saying, I'm definitely in an area that is seeing skyrocketing home rent because remote workers are coming here with their big paychecks. Where is that, Melissa? I'm just curious. And Kim's saying, I just saw an article where Ohio is really inexpensive to live. Salaries here are lower, but cost of living is low too. Las Vegas, thanks. Thanks for sharing, Melissa. Yes. Um, Very interesting. That's one I'm think about. And yeah, I know that our company is not doing any pay cuts, but O'Reilly Media has been based in Sebastopol since the start, so I don't think that's going to change. But we do have an office in Boston as well, so it's a little different. All right, everyone. This has been a great conversation. Thanks so much. It really ran long. Super interesting to do this. If anyone is interested in running one of these surveys and then helping host a community discussion to follow up on it, please hit me up. I would love to have you participate this way. I think that these are really, really interesting and a great way to maintain engagement within a community, and we can keep talking about this stuff. And don't forget, I have this feedback tool, feedback.thetldc.com. If you guys want to add some of your ideas about community discussions or surveys or topics that we can cover here and have, and topics that we can create surveys for and have these conversations, these community discussions, just add that over to the feedback tool. And just so you know, like this project show and tell, if you're looking at the tool now, the L&D hackathon that Alan, I think, came up with, just those types of things I'm working on, and I'm going to try to build those out. I'm taking all of this stuff seriously that's in the feedback tool so that we can just continue to find, create useful things for everybody here. All right. So thanks for joining us today. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week. I think I have Anna Smith next week as in a community discussion. Got a couple more. I know Danny Ortegon is coming in. And then don't forget Community Days on Thursday, September 2nd. It's looking really, really good. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.